Welcome to the Winning Series interview sponsored by Fearless Agent Coaching and Training and Mojo Selling Solutions. How would you like to grow your business exponentially, leverage your time, get more contracts signed, and still take control of your business and your life while doubling or tripling your income? I'm your host, Colton Lindsay, with the Winning Series interviews at winningtheinnergame.com. You can watch a new interview live every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain. I want to say thanks to you guys for watching the show. It's because of you we're able to do these interviews and learn, and congratulations for taking the time to learn and master your real estate business. I know there's a lot of other things that you guys could be doing, whether you're watching this live or on a recording. So make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel and go to winningtheinnergame.com to join my Winner Circle email list for real estate skills and mindset training that you can get invites to for free all the time. I want to introduce you to a freaking awesome rock star guy here, Joe. He's from, you're in Michigan, right? That's where you're out of?
Yeah, Metro Detroit.
Metro Detroit, Michigan, where they're selling $65,000 huts in the Brickyard Mansions there. So first of all, before I just kind of introduce him, I want you guys right now, I've already opened the Q&A section. Let me just make sure that that is up and running. I've opened the Q&A section so you guys can start asking questions along the way. We may answer them during, or we might just save them till the end. So Joe, tell us your name, contact information, how people can get in touch with you, and then also in about 60 to 90 seconds, the synopsis of how you got to where you're at today in real estate.
Sure. Name's Joe Delia. We service all of Metro Detroit. Contact information, info@thedeliagroup.com, DELIA, so info@thedeliagroup.com, and my cell is 248-933-9462. It's 248-933-9462. How we got in the real estate game and to this point is it's tough to put in 90 seconds, but long story short, it's hard work. So
awesome. So what were you doing before you got into real estate?
Launched in college. We did a student painting company. We ran the second largest branch in the country. I know your buddies with AJ Maida.
Yeah.
We hired AJ into that student painting company back when I think I was 19 and he was 18. So from there, evolved some of the guys I met in the student painting company. We went and launched a clothing brand. They're now one of the largest in the Midwest and like top 5 nationally, called Wrestling Addicts. It services a lot of wrestling stuff, shocking. So they're doing extremely successful. They've got, I think, 30 full-time people now. They're really cruising. From that, I actually went back into business with AJ, did some gold stuff. It was always a means in which to get into real estate. I never thought I'd be a realtor. I always thought I would be the investing game. And so we started investing after the gold thing kind of went bye-bye. Took the funds from that, started buying, fixing, selling, buying, fixing, renting, and then couldn't find a realtor I liked, so I just became one.
How old are you now?
30.
30. And how long you been in the real estate side of things, being a realtor?
Sure. Second full-time year. I've had my license for full years. I was part-time for 2.
Okay, part-time the first 2 years, went full-time the second 2 years. So you started in your student painting business back at 19. So you've been over 11 years now working as an entrepreneur and a business owner. So you didn't come into real estate just as I'm going to be a sales agent, I'm going to be a business owner, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was funny. I was laughing with my wife the other day. I was thinking back, I've never worked for someone full-time in my life. Now we're going to work for 200 people this year, but I've never worked at a job full-time for anyone else ever.
Yeah. You know what? I actually had 2 real jobs, and believe it or not, I got fired from both of them. No, 3 real jobs. I got fired from 2. One of them I lasted at least a year. It was the worst job ever. I was a meter reader. I read gas meters when I was 18. Worst freaking job on the planet, dude. So tell us about that time, 19 to what age were you in the painting business, the student painting business?
19, it was while we were in college. So I think I did it for 4 years. So 19 to 23 or 24. And then we went out and then we launched the clothing brand. And
you weren't the one that was doing the painting, right? You were doing door-to-door sales. Is that what I understand it as?
Yeah, well, it was door-to-door sales is a piece of it. The other part was we were illegally putting flyers in people's mailbox, just hustling. And we it before we did it, I had painted my parents' garage door and ended up selling $40,000 worth of paint jobs in the springtime before we ever even painted anything. So I think that of the 4 years I did the student painting thing, I think I painted for a total of probably 10 hours.
Who did the painting?
We hired people. We hired, like our last year, we did 64 houses, I think, if I remember right, 64. And I hired 16 different people to get 6 good painters.
Okay. So your idea was, okay, how can I create the sale and leverage not actually going and doing the work then, basically, right?
Yeah. And we're following it's very similar to KW. You're following a model in place that people have already developed in the past, and all you're doing is, here's the ops manual. Now just actually follow the steps and don't put yourself in the way of the process and try to create everything. That little house that Gary builds, like on Creativity, Maria, right? And it's like all hodgepodge together, or you can go with systems and processes. Student painters is no different. Follow exactly what the top people are doing, much like being a realtor. Follow what the top people are doing, and the rest falls into place.
So you came into real estate having an understanding of what's the foundation, right? And you've probably noticed this with real estate agents. They try to go, especially in the Keller Williams model, they go in, get licensed, and they try to build this team by just putting the roof on first, right? Yeah. And it's not going to work. So fast forward, you're 23, 24 years old. Now you're in the gold business. What year was this?
Yeah, we launched the clothing brand. Yeah.
Oh, the clothing brand first. Okay.
Yeah, launched clothing brand, did that for 3 years. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. And then we went into the gold business. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, with your launch with the clothing business, because that's a little bit different. I'm sure you weren't knocking doors selling shirts, right?
No. So I grew up wrestling. My 2 business partners grew up wrestling. I think that's a lot of where my mental toughness and work ethic came from. And so grew up wrestling. Those guys grew up wrestling. My dad's been official for over 30 years. My uncles were coaches. Those guys had their roots in other parts of the state. So we launched this clothing brand and went to all the high school teams and we're like, hey, we're doing this clothing brand. We're going to do shirts and everything. And then we instantly had a base because we're just so involved in it growing up.
So, okay. So you still had to prospect, right? You still had to lead generate. It was just a different format.
Right.
So
it was expanding on our relationships that were already existing, and then but they had to see you now as a business person that they could trust instead of their athlete, right?
Yeah, got that. So I think for those watching, 2 things: no matter what business you're in the lead generation business. True or true? And that's what they got to. So you move forward. You're in the gold business now. I'm guessing this is before gold kind of tanked, right? Back when it was hot, or what year?
Basically, when I got in, it was at 900 an ounce, and then it climbed and went crazy. And before it peaked out, we were out of the gold business. So yeah, we went with that rise. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you're in a good time. And I heard AJ on an interview with Joshua Smith. He said that, and I don't know, were you involved with AJ doing gold as well, or was that separate?
Okay. For a period, we were together, and then we weren't. Yeah.
Okay, so he had explained it in a nutshell that you guys would do gold parties. Is that kind of what you would do to generate the leads?
Yeah, exactly.
So give us in a nutshell, how did you generate leads at that time for that business?
Sure. Initially, they would throw like rent out a conference room at a hotel. A bunch of people would come in with their gold. They'd sell them on the idea of hosting a party, much no different than Tupperware, but it just happened to be everyone getting paid instead of spending money, right?
Yeah.
So they'd come in, you'd sign them up, you'd sign the gold parties. At the gold party, everyone sees how much money they make. Everyone's excited. They're walking out with thousands of dollars. So they sign up for parties, and then just kind of spirals from there.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
so
it was crazy, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I bet that was an insane amount of time. Was it a cash business?
Oh yeah. We it was we could talk about it all day. AJ probably could talk to you about it too. I mean, we'd be from Chino Hills to Compton. I remember calling a guy AJ and I worked with when I was driving through Watts, and I was like, look, I'm down for just about everything, but I'm not getting out here. And it's if there's bars on the second floor buildings, You're worried about someone putting a ladder against your house and breaking into the second floor. That's when I'm calling it quits. But just about everywhere else we went. So it was a good time.
Wow.
Didn't matter if we were in
So
Huntington Beach, at a mansion.
you guys were just stacking cash, because that's probably a major cash transaction then. Awesome.
Funny
So,
story, real quick. Let me.
yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, I flew up to San Francisco, picked up 250,000 in cash, and then so they paid me to fly up to San Fran. We picked up 250,000 in cash. Went back to the house, met AJ. AJ dispersed it. Everyone, like, there's like 20 people there waiting for us, so everyone got 10 grand and left. That 250 disappeared like that within a minute, and then everyone brought back the gold at the end of the day. It was a crazy business. It sounds like fake, but it happened. It was fun.
That is so awesome. Okay, so fast forward, what year did you get your license? 4 years ago, so 2011. Does that sound right?
Yeah. 2011. Originally was licensed in Ohio. My wife was a project manager for General Electric, which is why I was living all over the country, moving around. And then we decided we wanted to move home, so then I got my license in Michigan.
So 2011 to 2013, you were a real estate agent in Ohio. You were part-time. So what were you doing besides real estate at that time?
Fine. The only reason I got my license was to make commissions off our own transactions and have MLS access. So we were buying, like, I bought a 4-unit building for 30 something, put 40 in, rented it for 2,200. Bought another building for 60 something, put 130 into it and started renting that. That was a house we thought we were going to live in for a long time. And then I was picking up another 4-unit building, backed out of that. So that's what I was doing. And then I was also helping out the property management division, leasing up some stuff. Wasn't making crap on that, but I was just learning the game generally.
Okay, so which I think that's cool to get out to a lot of the viewers, because we've got viewers that do a lot of deals, and we've got viewers that do very few deals, part-time agent, full-time agent, and it's cool to see that, hey, and I think you said you're going to hit 200 units this year. Is that what you're saying? So it's cool to see that you can go from being part-time to doing 200 units a year, and it doesn't open or happen overnight. Is that the case?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've done it in 2 years, but yeah, I mean,
so fast forward, now you're in Michigan, Metro Detroit. Tell us about the first 12 months in your business. Tell us the number of units you did, and where did you go to start attacking business?
Sure. So when we decided to move home, my wife took a job as a loan officer at Quicken Loans. And so I had my license, and then so it basically started with, I thought to myself, all right, well, I've got my friends and family local, and I've got a big family. So I've got that, and I actually don't get a ton of business from our family, not as much as I thought I would. So I always had that base, and I always had a big group of friends and people that I hung around with, and a big class that Renee and I went to in high school. So I had a little bit of that, and I just started posting on Facebook. My first deal we closed in Michigan, it was closed another one. It happened to be my brother's girlfriend. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Hey, closed another one. And they see that like once a month that I closed another one, and really I'm closing like not that many deals when I was doing part-time. And that's all anyone ever wanted to talk to me about when I was out. And that's the evidence. So it was like social media was like the foundation in some ways. And then from there, Renee getting the job at Quicken Loans, I was sending all of my business to her. And then in turn, the people on her team that I got, that whole company is under 35 years old. So it's our same age demographic. And so I got to know all the people there. They started sending me their friends and family. And then, I mean, I just networked and worked that niche, because who better to network with than people who pre-approve people all day?
Yeah. And those are sources that you add into your personal circle that you're going to do, I don't know, 5-10 referrals from one person, right?
Yeah.
And so you're really going to some key circles of influences to nail that. So how many units your first 12 months?
Did 50 total transactions. I think it was 47 sales, 3 leases.
Okay. And so of those sales, were those all buyers or were they sellers?
We're 80-20 buyer seller.
So 80% buyer?
Yeah.
20% seller. And what's crazy is because it used to be you'd hear a lot more people were 80-20 listing and buyers, right? And I think that we're starting to see a transfer of the way technology is and the way you can leverage your time with working with a buyer, that you can quickly turn those deals. Is that kind of what you guys have experienced?
Yeah, and I think it just happens to be the niche in which we've ramped up quickly with. I mean, like I just said, so I networked with a bunch of people who are pre-approving people all day, right? So who are they pre-approving? Well, they're pre-approving buyers. So, you know, that was the initial low-hanging fruit, and I just went after it as hard as I possibly could. And I'm still going after it. I was at another event last night, networking with even more people in the company, and it's getting higher and higher up. So
Awesome. So what was what was your average sales price that year?
I don't remember what it was last year. Overall, we're at 171,000 right now.
Oh, so that was what your average sales price is, or revenue you've made for the year?
No, that's average sales price.
Okay. So
About,
that's for this. Okay.
yeah, this year.
Awesome. Awesome. So now fast forward, let's talk a little bit about this year. We're almost 8.5 months into the year.
Yep.
How many units have you guys closed to date?
We have closed. I love these questions, and I have it all printed out. 110 today.
110 units.
Yeah.
And what does that look like on volume?
$18.95 million.
So basically $19 million in volume there. And what does that turn out to in gross commissions?
I don't have gross commissions in front of me, Colton. Renee, give me gross commissions so far this year if you could. I'll get the number. Trust me.
Yes, no problem. And so obviously you've expanded to leverage yourself during that time frame. You're not doing 110 transactions and processing them and doing all that yourself, right? So
very little, actually.
Let's hear about how is your system set up? You have a team put together. Do you have buyer's agents? Do you not have buyer's agents? Tell us the outlook of that.
Yeah, we have 10 people on our team. One's part-time. We have 2 virtual assistants that help with writing offers, processing, post-close, initial onboarding, database management. They do like some of our flyers and all kinds of like Photoshop stuff. And then we have 2 full-time people. My wife runs our entire back end of the office. She's like our COO essentially, right? So she has an engineering degree. She's ran multi-billion-dollar projects for General Electric. She handles everything on the back end. And then from there,
hold on 1 second. My wife's getting my credit card in the background here. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to answer your question back, our gross commission income so far this year is $400,000.
Okay, awesome.
And then with how much is this pending? How much do we have pending? I don't know. I'll get what it is pending right now because we have 7.7 million pending right now.
So hold on, I want to stop you right there because one of the things I want to point out to the viewers watching this is how well Joe knows his numbers, right? You really seem to track some key metrics within inside of your business. And would you be able to do the volume you're doing if you did not track those and focus on those?
I don't know how you don't track it, because if you don't know where you are, how do you know where you're going? You know what I mean? Sure, you set a goal of, hey, my goal last year was we're going to do 10 million, right? And if you don't have the spreadsheet in place to figure out where you're at, I mean, it's just kind of a wish more than a goal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so back to the team dynamic. Sorry to interrupt on that.
No, that's fine. So we've got myself. We've got the 4 back end between my wife and her 3 rock stars that work with her. And then I do just our listings. That's all I do all day is listings, and then team growth. And then on the other side, we've got 5 people. We've got a full-time showing agent, a lead buyer specialist, and then 3 full-time buyer specialists.
Awesome. Yep. So what I want to look at is you've came into real estate with the idea, I'm going to build a business out of it. You've got a back end support that pretty much, it sounds like your wife runs that operation.
Right.
Your focus is the listings, and not only the listings, but team growth. And so one of the things I imagine that you focus on is not only networking with, it sounds like Quicken Loans, but recruiting agents, right? Recruiting a new agent, because you've created a system to generate leads. Now it's okay, let's service these leads. So you're a listing agent and a recruiting agent, it sounds like. Is that correct?
No, that's absolutely correct. Did you go to Mega this year?
I didn't go to Mega this year.
So on stage, you consistently heard the same message from everyone, and they said that the biggest hurdle every big team has right now is talent on their team and their own personal leadership skills, developing the talent on their team. So I've kind of taken that to heart, and that's been my big focus. You constantly hear it, Ben Kenny, everyone talking about, hey, I need talent, I need talent, I need talent. So that's if you have talent, you got to find a way to implement it. Otherwise, they're going to end up somewhere else.
So not only have talent, but how do you, recruit them? How do you select them? How do you educate them? You know what I mean? How do you train them to be a part of what your vision is? The real Delia, right? It's painting that oasis for them. So talk to us about that. How do you divide your time focusing on your skill set and focusing on your training as a leader?
Sure. I think the toughest thing I struggle with right now is managing my calendar, which I know is one of the questions you talk about. So I have a hard time divvying it up. So I end up doing a lot of one or then a lot of another, and I have a hard time balancing it. Really, it comes down to lead flow, and based on lead flow, I'm either actively looking or I'm building my bench. So if we don't have the lead flow to support another person, or I'm not looking to change personnel, then I'm not really looking. I'm just paying attention to who might be good to have a conversation with at some point.
So you're tracking leads in is probably one of your key metrics then.
Yeah, and this isn't stuff I created. I mean, they say you want 15 today, 15 soon, and 15 in the future for each buyer's agent that you have, for a total of 45. And that's directly from Mike Perna, who I try to do everything he does.
So tell me what you mean by that: 15 today, 15 tomorrow, 15 in the future.
So if a buyer's agent should have in the next, they think in the next 90 days they're going to close at least 15 people in the pipeline, right? And then the next 6 months should be at least an additional more 15. And then, sometime in the next year, another 15. So you've got 3 lanes of 15 you need to constantly. If they're having more than that, they're probably going to get burned out at some point.
Okay. So that's kind of the target number to fill each agent. And when you're hit one agent at 15, 15, and 15, it's okay, time to hire another agent.
Yeah.
Right. You hit another one, time to hire another. And if the leads are slowing down, then that's when you can gauge to, hey, who do I got to get rid of, sort of thing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You always want to, I was talking to Jim Schaefer about it yesterday, cut off the bottom to add to the top. If you're constantly, get rid of, as you go into a slow season, you don't mind cutting the fat out and then try to acquire someone coming into the busy season again who, is talent versus someone you found out slipped through the cracks and wasn't quite cutting it.
Yeah. So it's slow to hire, quick to fire sort of thing, getting the right person in and taking the emotion out. Obviously you want to see your team members succeed, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But there comes a point that when you say, hey, listen, it's just you're not matching up with the vision. Have you had to do that with team members yet?
Yeah, we've had turnover, and frankly, all the turnover is my fault. Either I missed them on the screening process on the way in, or I had unrealistic expectations when we first were growing. And it's just one of those things, as you're growing a business, you're learning. And then other stuff, it just just didn't work out the way we thought it would.
So we just got a question here from Jeremy Crit. He asked the question, so how much, and I'm going to paraphrase his question. He asked, how much are you making? In a nutshell, of that 400 GCI, is that what's paid to you, or is that what's paid to the team, and how much do you keep of that?
I think we'll probably finish at about 700 to 800 in GCI this year, probably 800 in GCI. And of that, we'll keep our margins right now are 40%. So what's the number of that? 800 times 45 to 40%. So 320,000 is what we should net this year.
So by net, you mean that's paid staff, that's paid marketing, that's paid travel expenses.
320 will be in our pocket.
Okay, awesome. That's a pretty good number to be at, 320. Let's move to that question that it sounds like you're not super rock star at, and that's how do you manage your time, and what does your normal day look like?
Sure. Get up around, I'm getting up at about 6:45 is the time I get up at. From there, I try to get in and knock out any nonsense right off the bat. Just clear it out of my inbox so it's not weighing on me.
What kind of nonsense?
Just stupid emails, transaction stuff, so it's not weighing on me. Stuff I know I need to do, and maybe I probably should put that off to later at some point. But I knock it out right away in the morning. From there, I'm usually looking at something. Maybe I'm watching Colton Lindsay's interview, or maybe I'm reading. I just joined KWYP, which is Keller Williams Young Professional Network. Reading the book for an upcoming thing we have going on, or diving into Emory on something. Or I've been listening a lot to Great by Choice by Jim Collins right now. So diving into that first thing in the morning is the sun.
what time is that at that you're doing that mindset stuff?
Sure. 7 to 8.
Awesome. So
7
you're
to 8.
spending a whole hour on that then.
Yeah, it's probably anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour at most. Yeah.
How important is it to have that in your day every single day?
I think it's huge because otherwise you get distracted into a bunch of things and you need to get to it before the noise starts happening. And otherwise you're going to just kind of always be wanting to get to it and you never do. So, because by the end of the day, I mean, me personally, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to read. It's just not my thing. I'd rather read or listen to something first thing in the morning. Or while I'm cooking breakfast, I'm listening to a Gary Keller interview. Who knows? Anything like that.
Awesome. Okay, so 9 o'clock comes around. What happens?
Yeah, 9 o'clock comes around. I start servicing the business to knock out anything that's important. I try to do that. I try to lead gen from Tuesday to Thursday, Mondays and Fridays. It's funny, you and Jim Schaefer have had a big impact on me. I saw how much you made last year when you posted it, and you said you were working mainly 4-day weeks. And I'm like, how the hell is he doing that? And then Jim's doing the same thing out of our office, and he's going to do 60 to 70 million in sales. And I'm like, so I try not to schedule anything on Fridays because we're usually driving to get out of town and go somewhere fun for the weekend. So I don't schedule anything on Mondays. Monday's just about servicing the business, handling buyer agent questions, making sure the wheels are turning and things are going right. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doing the lead gen, relationship nurturing. So on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm trying to do those calls from, 9 or 10 o'clock to about noon.
So before, let's say a year ago, you were doing it differently, I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
I want you to, because a lot of agents on this do not have 3 or 4 or whatever, 5 buyers agents. They don't have a team, right? So I want you to say, how would you do it if it was just you and maybe an assistant? What would it look like?
It's just me and assistant. I don't think it would be all that different. Obviously, the amount of transactions we're closing would be a lot less. For me, we've always been so buyer heavy. So if you're asking about last year and when I had my wife join me full time in October, I literally was gone from the minute I woke up to the minute we got back, and then I'm like, eating a little bit of food, and I'm taking off, and then she's doing all the processing paperwork. So.
Do you have more free time now in your business today than you did a year ago?
Oh, it's not even, exponentially. We're doing more business than I ever anticipated this year. I mean, my goal is I think I told you when we met out in
Anaheim, right?
Do 15 million this year. Well,
you've gone through that.
Pending, we have almost 27. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's super. So you're gonna definitely double it for sure. It sounds like.
Yes.
Cool, man. So Jeremy asked the question again. I may have missed it. What kind of homes are you selling? He wasn't real clear on that. So you're 170,000 price point. What type of homes are these?
Just single family retail.
So just single family, 3-4 bed, 2 bath type stuff. Is that what they look like?
Yeah, we're due to a number of things. We're mainly first time home buyers. So we're selling the entry level houses. My listing side, our average sale price is considerably more. It's about 225. But on our buy side, it's like 160-ish. And we're so heavy on the buy side, it pulls the average down to about 170. So
awesome. Edgar Sanson asked, how many hours a day are you lead generating? It sounds like 2 to 3, Tuesday through Thursday.
I would say probably 2 hours on average, Tuesday through Thursday.
Who are you calling on those 2 hours?
So all those buyers that we're closing, 80% of them, so that if you take 200 transactions, it's 160, right? I've never talked to them before. So I've never had a conversation with them. I only know their last name and what their sale price was. So after they close, I'm calling and saying, hey, it's Joe Delia with the Delia Group. I just want to congratulate you on your sale at 123 Main Street. Do we owe you anything at this point? Is there any leftover to do items that we owe you for something? And 99% of the time it's no. Tom said he was going to find someone to hedge my bushes the other day. So it's like, all right, so I found someone to hedge their bushes. So I make that call and start building that relationship. And then I say, we have the 3 goals speech. I don't know if you've heard that since you joined Keller Williams yet, but fastest possible sale in the shortest, best possible price, shortest time, smoothest process possible. If we do 1 and 2, you will refer us and review us. And then, so now my big push is, hey, you're going to be getting a link to review us. I really would appreciate if you do that. And then, like we promised, sounds like you had a great process. Anyone buying or selling would really appreciate that referral, like we talked about. And
awesome. So review link then is to build up online, because online reviews are getting pretty powerful. And it's funny because I have a Zillow profile. I don't have anything to do with it, but I remember I went on a listing appointment once, and I sell more homes than 99% of the agents in my marketplace. And this lady says to me, she's like, well, you didn't have many reviews on Zillow. And I was like, what the frick does that have to do with anything, right? But it's obviously important for people because they're out there searching and looking on it, right?
Yeah, my big aha at Mega, beyond, there was a bunch of them, but especially this one, is people trust strangers' online reviews over personal referrals. So if it's Colton Lindsay and Delia going into a listing appointment together, and I have at this point 51 5-star reviews, and maybe Colton Lindsay sells a lot more houses than me, and you're referred from their friend Sandy, I've got a leg up because they trust me because they vetted me in advance. For you, it's, oh, well, Colton worked with Sandy and they had a good experience. So we're starting to see well, I've already reviewed you. I like what people had to say about you. Come list me. And it's like, talk about the easiest listing consultation.
What are you using to do reviews? What's your system for that?
Well, it's the post-close call, and all we're doing is sending it out. And what we're starting to do is implementing who had that buyer or seller, and tracking for them and giving them percentages like, hey, you've closed 10 people this month and only 2 have reviewed us. You need to start calling them in addition to my call. So
what is the review link? What service are you using for
Zillow.
Just the Zillow one?
Yeah, and we need to ramp up Realtor.com, and Truly and Zillow just integrated their two reviews. So if they review you on one, it goes
to the other.
That was annoying having.
Yeah, there's Zillow now, right?
What's that?
Their company's called Zillow now.
They're you deal with them because you have to, So
yeah. See, you could see an agent doing 200 deals a year, and that's how much he loves Zillow. He loves it. Perfect. Do you guys use Facebook at all as far as that is a place to do reviews, or no?
We don't push it, but people just happen to do it. So
okay, so you really push the Zillow link then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. So it's noon now. You're done lead generating. What's happened at that point of your day?
It's time to start getting to work. You know what I mean? As far as servicing the business for me personally, because I'm still in the thick of it, and start doing CMAs, start negotiating offers, start going on listing appointments, and doing the rest. And our buyers agents are all basically brand new. This is their first year doing business. So for a while, it's starting to get less like this. I was a giant firefighter. Every one of their deals, they didn't know how to objection handle. They didn't know, another agent's running them over. So I had to constantly get pulled in on things all the time. It's winding down from that. But pretty much everyone on our team, there's only one person who was ever a realtor before they joined us. So.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to point out his day. Starts off with owning his morning, right? Really sets the tone for what he wants to feel and think throughout the day. Moves to lead generation, and then saves the second half of the day to go into appointments, meeting with people face to face, right?
Yeah.
What time are you usually done for the day?
It varies. We work super late Monday through Thursday. I go till I need to be done. And my wife's the same way.
Is that because you feel like you have to, or just because you're plain addicted to go to work?
I enjoy it. I'm not really working. This is like a giant
game, business, fun thing.
So it's just a giant game, and I've never looked back and be like, you know what? I really wish I would have watched more TV.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
Don't have kids, no.
So that may change in the future with how your goals and your outlooks are with that then. Yeah, because my Wednesday night turns into watching Hobby Kids. You ever seen Hobby Kids on YouTube? Dude, it's freaking ridiculous. These stupid little kids have like 8 million views on their channel. I think it's because my daughter watched 400 million of them. It's freaking nuts, dude.
No, I hear my our friends, everyone's either getting married or having babies right now, and some of the stuff they're taught. Minions. I saw someone driving a Minion mobile the other day. I see it on,
Oh
occasion.
yeah,
I
Minions,
guess
dude.
that's all the rage right now. I don't
You
know.
got Minions, you got Despicable Me, Despicable Me too. Yeah, you got she loves that movie Home, and it's like put your hands in the air like you just do not care. Yeah, it's like you'll get into it one day, man. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving forward here, talk about your mentors. I want to hear about who've been your mentors or how important are mentors for you in your business.
Yeah, I think, and when I first joined and never even knew who Colton Lindsay was, I started joining these different groups, and I think you were WGR or something else before, and then now Fearless Agent. I didn't. Everyone talked about. I kept seeing you get a coach, get a coach, get a coach, get a coach, and I'm like, I don't. What does that even mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I joined Keller Williams, that we have our own business coach inside our office, and she's so much more than a business coach. That she's had a major impact on just ignoring the noise and kind of honing us in on to what's important. She's just been huge, absolutely huge for us, and we're going to start up MAPS coaching too here shortly. But mentors in my life have been, my dad's the guy who, he's starting to slow down now, but that man literally would work from the second he got up in the morning to the second he went to bed every day of his life. Like the one time, if he's watching, a Lions football game, getting pissed off watching him lose, he's folding laundry at the same time. You know what I mean? And so he just would go nonstop all day, every day. And he would work extremely hard and then sometimes work smart. You know what I mean? And that was just his thing. And so that instills a work ethic in you. And I think, everyone around me in the wrestling world growing up, you just you're not in wrestling because it's, a lot of fun. It really actually kind of sucks. But it's only fun if you're winning. So you've got to grind so hard to win.
Yeah.
The mental toughness. So
you don't like to be a wrestler and lose. That sucks, right?
It's funny. I was talking to the podcast I did earlier last week, and the other guy was the guy who lost all the time but stuck with it. I couldn't have done that. I won the majority of the time, which is why I enjoyed it. But I hate losing. So
You know where the WGR came from, right?
I have no idea.
So I on a lot of my earlier videos, I would call people and say I'm the world's greatest realtor. And
Nice.
so I had a website, the world's greatest realtor.com, and that's what I built all my branding off of. And I didn't realize it was a code of ethics violation. So someone turned me in to NAR and I got cease and desist orders and like all this crazy stuff. So we changed it to the world's greatest real estate sales team. So that's my sales team now is the WGR. Winning the Inner Game is my personal like mindset website, and then Fearless Agent is obviously coaching and training. So that's the story behind that, if you're wondering.
You get turned in a lot. You just must be out there just pissing a lot of people off or something. Didn't you just get turned in for something else I saw?
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, it was on MailChimp. Someone from some stupid agent in my board. Like, one of our things is we just send our listings out to people in our marketplace, and they were all bent that we used MailChimp to send them. And there was actually like a couple of my friends got the same thing, lost their MailChimp account. So stupid.
Screw you for working hard, Colton.
Yeah, I have offended people. I remember back when I did a lot more FSBOs. I don't do as many now, but I remember it was one year, I think I did 40 for sell by owners. And there was a couple agents, they would call my broker all the time, all pissed, and they're like, hey, Colton listed my client's house. And I'm like, what the are you talking about? Your client, you didn't have a signed contract with them. They had it for sale by owner sign in their yard, you jerk off.
My client's house.
Yeah. So yeah, there were quite a few people. I've learned though. Yeah, if people aren't hating on you, man, you're not doing it right. People are gonna criticize the successful. So cool, man. So what about do you have a belief in God, higher power, source energy? What's your take on that, and how does that involve with your business?
I believe the harder we work, the more successful we are. Yeah, that's the harder we work, the luckier we've gotten. So whatever that leads into.
So like Benjamin Franklin said, the more you help yourself, the more God helps you, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just the harder we've gone at it, and the smarter we've approached things, the luckier we've gotten. You know what I mean? So that's what at a complete foundation standpoint, I just believe in hard work and working smart and working and surrounding myself with people that are better than me, and that's resulted in everything. So the spirituality thing is not me that much, no.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, guys. So what advice would you give to new agents out there?
I think start with the end in mind on virtually everything you're doing. So and get out of your own way. Stop thinking that you have it figured out. So when the first thing I did after joining Keller Williams and Family Union is literally that first week I went and toured Mike Perna's office. Well, Mike Perna's going to do 130, 140 million this year. He's out of the same market area with us. And it's like, well, Mike Perna uses top producer. I'll use top producer, right? I mean, it's not, if it's good enough for Mike Perna, it's good enough for me. And it's not all this analysis paralysis, posting in every single Facebook group online, getting a bunch of opinions from people who don't do any business. It's, find someone who is doing a lot of business and just copy them. Oh, well, Ben Kenny uses Brivity. Well, guess what? Guess who's now using Brivity? We are. You know what I mean? So it's not just get out of your own way and get a CRM early. That's one thing that I learned last year is I calculated that I lost over, just that I know of, about 3 million in business by being too busy. And that's when, so 3 million in business, that's 90,000 in commission. So I lost $90,000 because I was too busy to follow up with it. So get the things that you're bad at off your plate, begin with the end in mind, and get out of your own way. Just do the foundational things that build a business that are successful. Talk to enough people that are going to buy or sell. You're going to love this. We've just sold around a condo we just sold in Rochester Hills. And it was a wrong number for a farm property an hour north of here. And they're like, funny, you called because we've been talking about listing. I just booked it for $250 and we've already put them under contract on their buy for 170,000 or something. All in and it was a wrong number. It was a wrong number.
Yeah. So the key is just be in front of people, right? Especially in a market like this. Right now, the secret to today's real estate is get the frick in front of deals, right? You can just get in front of deals. They're going to happen.
Not that hard. Another one, same thing. We had another just listed, just sold, and I'm chasing this guy right now. He said he wants to list $500,000. Wrong number for the area in which we were calling on with Mojo. It's not that difficult. Just
looking at you and hearing your story, and I'm glad that I got to know you a little bit more. I mean, you didn't get into real estate like most agents do. You had an entrepreneur background. You had a really strong drive, and you had a sales background. You understood, hey, I need to get in front of people. I need appointments. I need to do a presentation. I need to get a contract signed. I get paid when I get contracts signed. So on that standpoint, to a new agent, what would you recommend to agents that don't have a background like you but still want to get into this business?
Yeah. So I don't know if you've never taken a DISC test, DISC, you really should, and that'll tell you what you're really good at and what you're not good at. My natural personality is I'm unbelievably direct and I'm as extrovert as it gets. So I could literally talk to you all day. I mean, that wouldn't be a problem. I could talk all day to probably myself. Seriously, I could have a conversation with myself all day long and crack myself up in the process. But someone else who's more task-based, your typical engineer, they can also be extremely successful. Right. But they have to know what they're good at and really focus on it and the way in which to approach it. And if you don't know who you are, and take everything that you're bad at. So once you know who you are and you're being self-aware, leverage all the stuff that you're bad at. And that's what I've done. I've really, at this point in our business, I'm just doing things I like to do and I'm naturally good at. And everything else is done by everyone else.
Sometimes are you walking around the house talking to yourself and your wife thinks you have multiple personalities, or?
She'll hear me just cracking up when it's just me in the kitchen and all I'm doing is thinking about some funny situation I was in. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, no, I do that all the time. My wife's like, are you schizophrenic? And I'm like, what? Just having a conversation with myself, get off my back.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's just, but I bet, have you disc test yourself yet?
Yeah, I'm a pretty high I and a pretty high D. And actually, I just took the disc again, just barely, and my C has grown dramatically. I've become a little bit more analytical. And it's funny because even though I'm pretty outgoing, I really actually hate people, right? Like, I just don't want to, I mean, I want to talk to people, but I don't want to talk to people because half the time I'm like, what the frick are you talking about right now? Are you retarded? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. But I like to surround myself with, again, you're your five closest people, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm with the people that I really enjoy. I mean, I can talk to anyone about anything. That's always been one of my things, but I really enjoy talking to people like yourself or, Mike Perna or Jim Schaefer, guys that are trying to blow this thing through the roof. Then I could talk, I mean, literally all day.
Well, I think bringing that up, it's like it's not even just a guy blowing it through the roof. It's a guy with purpose, right? It's like what's the purpose? You think about it every single day. You've got one opportunity to do everything you can. What are you going to do with today? Are you going to empower others? Are you going to really transform another person's life? Are you going to create massive value, or is it about you? Is it about yourself and what you get from it? And that's part of growing a team is you get to empower those sales agents to work with. You get to empower those people that first time home buyer, man. Remember your first home? Like seriously, it's a pretty powerful thing. So
You have to have just naturally a customer service dedication mentally. That needs to be at the forefront. Money's just a byproduct of doing all the right things. So if you're doing all the right things, the money shows up. If you're doing all the wrong things, the money doesn't show up. And it's really just up to you to do the right things. And the right things have already been proven over and over and over.
So, and that's what you spoke earlier is, okay, you saw he was using top producer. I'm going to use top producer. And that's one of the things that I teach with winning the inner game of your life and your real estate business is number one thing is follow a freaking proven system, a proven model. Don't get in here trying to reinvent the wheel, right? If you want to go become a bodybuilder, go learn from someone who's a world-class bodybuilder. If you want to become a marathon runner, learn from someone that's a world-class marathon runner, right? Learn a proven system. I want to hop into some of these guys' questions. How do you see the future of your real estate in the next, or no, not your real estate. How do you see the future of real estate in the next 5 years?
I think the solo agent is going to be in a world of hurt. I think teams are going to take over. They already are. Teams are doing the vast majority of the business that is out there. And I really see the solo agent really having a hard time because the business mindset is entering this industry, and you've got the Mark Spains, the Jeff Glovers, the Mike Pernas, these guys doing 1,000 transactions, and have budgets of literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. And how are you going to compete with that as a solo agent? If I'm on a listing appointment versus a solo agent, I have 10 full-time people. I cost virtually the same amount of money as you do, and it's just you. And so when I'm out doing a listing appointment, it takes us probably on average an hour to respond to someone's email on a transactional stuff. How long does it take you if you're showing a buyer all day long?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It's created that business.
yes.
And not to mention, I mean, with the way social media is, you got YouTube, you got Twitter, you got Facebook, you got Periscope, Blab, uh, everything out there, man. You're starting to see a whole new world of possibility opening up that forever in the real estate business, it was follow the Mike Ferry system, right? And like, I love how Mike Ferry teaches prospecting, but he doesn't teach you to be a business owner. He teaches you to be a slave to your business, right? And there's more to life than being a friggin' slave. It's about having a life worth living. And I think that's even the Keller Williams motto, right? Have a life worth living or something like that. Business worth owning, life worth living.
Probably. I've only been here 6 months. I know you're like on 3 months or something.
Yeah, I don't know. So how can you make your your business more profitable? That's a question we had on here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's getting more listings, and being less reliant on one lead source. Half our business is is through a referral source. So ramping up listings, because the listings, I mean, our funnel is already set. The system's the foundation. I mean, I could run 200 listing transactions through our systems and processes already, and my overhead would barely increase. So that obviously would be a ton more versus a buyer's agent that you're paying half the commission to.
So increase more on the listing side.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listings have the greatest leverage. I mean, the average a listing agent on a team makes 10%, and they can carry 20 listings, right? So, could a buyer's agent carry 20 active buyers at one time?
Yeah. Are you happy with your profitability currently?
40%'s okay. for us still being pretty heavy into the business is a little lower than I would like. And that's because we're so reliant on a referral source right now. But yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. But I know where we're headed. So it's
Where ideally would you like to be at your target?
45%. And that's if I was completely removed out of the business and we had hired someone in to take the stuff my wife does. So we're both on instead of in.
Okay.
But, you know, Perna runs at 31%, but he's also going to make like, you know, $1.4 million this year. So, you know, if I'm making 1.4 million, I'll take 31%.
Awesome. Well, and you know what? Some of those business expenses are some pretty fun things that you get to experience, right?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
I know, my business sent me to the World Cup last year, and that was freaking awesome. They did a retreat there in Rio, and it was like, I love my boss, you know?
Incredible. That's incredible. It's good that he's willing to do that for you.
Yeah. So what splits do you have with your, Michael Bast asked, what kind of splits do you have with your team members, and how do you keep the talent from walking?
Well, talent, I mean, they have to appreciate the leverage in which, I mean, they only do like this much of the transaction. So, and they get paid half the commission. The buyer's agents are 50-50. Our lead buyer specialist gets a 5% override on all the buy sides besides his own. He doesn't get an override on his own business. He has a full-time showing agent that he splits his half with. So he's 25% on his own deals. The full-time showing agent's 25%. And then he gets a 5% override on the buy side of the business because he's.
Does that showing agent show every buyer's homes or just his?
Just his, and then the other agents can lean on her and pay her on a per house basis.
Okay.
And sit in on inspections or whatever, or closing. I paid her $50 for closing to sit in because I had a couple at the same time the other day. So that's the way they're structured.
So you're actually the one that typically goes to your closings then?
I only go to my listings closings.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So what are your thoughts? This was a question came through. What are your thoughts about upping your price point?
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. It will climb up. It's actually like climbing down right now, but it will climb up. The stuff we have in motion will climb. We're going to start farming, and we're dialing, and we're working on SEO into higher price point areas. So it's going to climb. It'll be at least 200 next year. There's no doubt. You have to remember we're in Michigan too. You know, it's not like we're in California or one of these markets to where everything's $500,000.
Well, isn't like 20 to 25% of Detroit like a jungle, like a brick jungle, like they don't even maintain it, or is that just like stories online?
Oh, no, that's not stories at all. Depending on Detroit, what people don't understand about the city of Detroit is it has some of the largest, I don't know what the square mileage is, but you can fit something like Miami, Boston, Manhattan, and like 2 other major cities inside the square footage and square mileage of Detroit. It is massive. So yeah, there's I mean, if you saw Gran Torino, the movie with Clint Eastwood, that was filmed in Detroit. So you saw like 2 houses on an entire block. There's some spots. And then on the other side, I just listed one in the University District that he bought last year for $180,000. I just sold it for $245,000, and he's had it for like 10 months. You know what I mean? So depending on what district, other parts, and down where Gilbert's doing all his rehab and rehab addicts going with that Nicole Curtis girl, you can't even touch stuff down there unless you're paying all cash. And you're talking like $300,000+ all cash. So,
wow.
You know, it really is very district based.
So Casey Matson wrote, being in your office, I see how you're constantly networking with other top producing agents in our market. How has that experience impacted your business? Yeah. Are other top producing agents open and willing to share?
Yeah. And it's funny, Casey, that you asked that question because I wanted to talk to you about that. Everyone, there's very few people that I've ever messaged and they're like, and not gotten back to me. And most of them have no idea who I am. And literally going onto the plane out of family reunion, Jim DeMora, who's, you know, out of the Northville market, he's doing 30 million this year. I don't know where he's going to land. You know, I literally I'm sitting next to him. He goes, "Oh, are you with KW?" I'm like, "No, I'm here as a guest." And he's like, "Well, you should come to my office." He literally handed me his entire farming campaign, and we sat together for 2 hours. And he hands me every single marketing piece he sends out to everyone in his farm. I mean, that's insane, right? And he gives us his entire marketing calendar. from there, I walk upstairs to Mike Perna's office and I'm asking him questions. He's like, honestly, I don't deal with a lot of that anymore. Let me take you to the person who does. And then he's like, yeah. And he just leave me there to ask a million questions. I asked him what his follow-up plan is. And he goes, and I'm like, I'll look at it and we'll kind of adjust. He goes, just copy it. All I did was copy it off other people too. So it's like, these guys, the sharing culture within KW, and I'm not telling you that's every single agent, but there's plenty of business to go around. And it's not rocket science as to what they do. I mean, Casey, you could go take Jim to coffee anytime in our office and he'll tell you any question you want to know. So I think that's a KW culture. One thing Jim sold me on when I was down there for family reunion was, and I was like slightly buzzed at the time when he said it, just like resonated with me. He goes, at Keller Williams, you have your hand up on the ladder and someone's pulling you up. And for me, that's Jim, that's Mike Perna, that's different guys. They're pulling you up, and then you need to have your hand down, pulling someone else up on the ladder with you. So that's what I think our culture is.
Well, and that's just part of being a good person, right? Like that's one of the things. I reached out to a kid the other day. I had a referral appointment, and the guy had interviewed like 13 agents off of Zillow. I don't know how he was on Zillow or something, but the guy called me up. I'd sent him the contract to sign. He planned on listing. And then he said, well, you know what? I met with this other agent that said he would do a 30-day listing contract. I'm like, all right, whatever you got to do. You know what I mean? And I was like, call me if you change your mind. He didn't end up listing with anyone, which was the funny part. But I sent a message to that guy. His name is Jeremy Olson. And I said, hey, man, are you open to some coaching? And I'm like, never lower your standard to a 30-day listing contract. You're letting them take control of you and your life and your business. And now, he's totally looking to make some changes in his business and his career. And it's super awesome to see what happens when you just reach out to someone and just, give, right? Isn't that the philosophy? Just give.
Well, yeah, it's no different than, what we were talking about earlier, in that you have to have a customer service mindset. And I think that customer service mindset is especially to other agents in your marketplace. Half the time I want to reach through the computer and strangle them sometimes, but at the same time, if you do that, you're going to have a lot of issues in the future, right? So yeah, we try to service not only our client, but we're trying to service the co-op agent, because guess what? If you're a jerk and we're in a multiple offer situation, guess who they're probably saying, this offer looks good, but this guy's a real jerk to deal with. Or we can go with Joe and his team, and they're fantastic, right? So
yeah. So and a great book, go read, Raving Fans. Apply that into your systems. One of the things we do at every closing is we're sending a handwritten thank you card to the other agent, right? Because we want to make sure that, hey, you had a great experience with us. And that does piss me off when people try and recruit my assistant, by the way, because of how rock star she is. No, seriously, that's been happening in my marketplace lately, little suckers. Okay, man, we're at the top of the hour. I appreciate you being on. Give one more time where people can contact you and how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, my cell is 248-933-9462. And then you can just email me at info@the Group. That's kind of a general catch-all mailbox, and they'll forward stuff on to me. So, reach out anytime about anything. I'd love to, talk to anyone or talk with you about any questions you might have. And everything I'm telling you is just stuff I heard from other people and we're implementing. So it's just, paying it forward.
Awesome. Thanks for being on. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching. Go to fearlessagent.com. Make sure that you get a complimentary coaching call, or on Tuesday, we're doing our free teleseminar trainings. Also, if you guys are not implementing a system like Mojo Dialer into your business, make sure you get, Joe, I didn't even ask you that. Do you guys use Mojo or a dialing system?
Yeah, Mojo for everything. Yeah.
See, hear that right here, a guy doing 200 deals a year. Use Mojo, right? Get into a coaching program, use Mojo, and leverage your time. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys soon.